Nia suddenly perked up, as she recognized the ping of the Grand Master in the astral realm, who had just arrived personally with several others, though her enthusiasm dimmed on realizing she would need to explain herself. She and Svarti had been happily conversing for what must have been several hours now, and though the Stygian had always been on cordial terms with the Nira before, whenever they had classes or study group together, they had never really been close. However, after talking to her over several topics of magical theory, she found that she and Svarti had a lot in common, and that Svarti was nothing like her scumbag brother. Though she really wanted to ask more about the Golden Staff, the Stygian knew better than to potentially blow her cover. It hadn't been seen in action since the time of Azazel during the Demon Fire War. The Elders would need to be informed at once, and the fact that the one that had recent possession of it also had that sword. Her thoughts were instantly interrupted by a loud, challenging squawk as the corvid familiar spread their wings and began casting. Caro had also detected the astral ping. Devil's daughter attacked my sister and me, and after getting Svarti out of there, I defended myself successfully. Svartal snapped to the Inquisitors. I have no intention of explaining my actions to those sympathetic to her. Strange. Devil's daughter has consistently fought threats to the city and its people. Inquisitor Faglil glared at the Nira. She knew enough about this one from the injuries his ambush had inflicted on Jack, Allura, and their friends on their way back from visiting the Oracle, and she was not happy he was in front of her, having been lauded a hero of the clown attack. Why did she target you? The motivations of Devil's Daughter are hardly that black and white. Another Inquisitor drawled with a wicked smile, as Faglil scowled even harder. Of course the resident Drow matriarch would be the one to throw doubt into the mix and derail the questioning. Indeed, many upstanding corporations and organizations have placed bounties on Devil's Daughter for her sabotaging activities. The way I see it, this Nira proven himself a valiant warrior in rescuing many of those who would have otherwise perished in the combat, and he also mounted an effective defense with his equally valiant sister, despite the incompetence shown by Clan Barzum in allowing this to happen. Her wicked smile grew even wider with that final, biting comment, looking towards Ivar Barzum as she said it. That he was a key factor in the battle is not in doubt, Faglil called out, in an attempt to restore order, as many of the other Inquisitors nodded in agreement with the Drow, some more enthusiastically than others. What I want to know is why Dr. Reyes Grime met with your patrons. Why don't you go ask them, as Starlight? Svartal sneered at the Inquisitor. I'm just a mercenary House Malkar treats well. If I had even heard the faintest of rumours the party would be attacked, my sister and I wouldn't have gone, and if House Malkar knew, then I have no doubt they would have forbidden me from attending. His logic is sound, Inquisitor Faglil. The Red Legion Inquisitor spoke up. Unless you have any further questions, I think that there is nothing more to ask. His actions this night have witness accounts backing it up, so unless you have any solid evidence to the contrary, I believe this hearing is adjourned, and Spartal is cleared beyond any reasonable doubt of the charge of aiding the attack. Though I must say that it is a shame this young man is no longer an aspirant for the Red Legion. A shame for you, maybe, Spartal began, before a Hodov quickly rushed into the room, whispering something into Ivar's ear. We have a situation, Ivar began, addressing the group, but Spartal was alerted by Caro, informing him of an astral incursion. They're going for Svarti, the Nira shouted, before he quickly teleported away from the worried Inquisitors. Overcharge, Jack yelled, aiming his gun down the corridor, ready to shoot straight to the lead figure of the small group, who all stopped in unison. Don't move or try anything. You're surrounded. His words were true. Sigrin and the Clan Barzum Rock Guard had done a stellar job of looking casual, right up until they quickly formed a firing line, aiming right at the mysterious figures, who for their part cooperated with Jack's demands. "We do not seek a conflict with you, outsider," the lead figure calmly spoke. The voice sounded like it belonged to an elderly person, whispery, but still having an inner strength behind it. "We will cooperate. It was not our intention to cause a panic, especially in these dire times." "Gee, what a great fucking way to go about that," Jack drawled with sarcasm, not believing the figure's words in the slightest. "I've met plenty of weird dudes in rows with hostile intentions already, tonight included. So you're going to have to excuse me if I don't buy that shit. You haven't said what you want." "We registered ourselves with Clan Bosom's guards at the entrance, and we are here for our charge." "Is there any way you would propose to verify both that and everything else?" Jack asked. "For all I know, you're the alien equivalent of Bill Cosby." "I do not know who that is, but may we remove our hoods?" the lead figure asked. "I understand you question our logic, but our identity will answer it." "Don't move. I will do it for you," Jack spoke up, before Sigrun had a chance. "If you think I'm going to give you the chance to cast a spell with subtle hand movements, then you're more retarded than you look." Several of the figures bristled at that, but immediately stopped at the slight movement of the leader. Quickly looking to Sigrun, who nodded in understanding, Jack quickly but carefully went to the lead figure and slid the hood back, revealing the pale, wrinkled red skin of an elderly Stygian man who looked to be nothing more than a fleshy bag of bones. Moving to the other figures revealed more Stygians, though a few ones at the back were of differing species. On reaching the last figure, Jack pulled the hood back to reveal Renner, who stared back at Jack with a cool glance. "You're here for Nia?" Jack asked as he moved back, having made the connection. "I'm going to need confirmation on that. I was the one to get her out of there and keep her alive, so I have a duty of care here. I need to know she's going to be alright." "What the Grand Master says is true," Renner said, as the fox-like being nodded her head ever so slightly to them, in a deferring way. "You must be Renner," Sigrun addressed her dryly. "You are wanted for debriefing and general questioning to aid in our investigation. Where the hell have you been?" Renner, for her part, simply looked to the Grand Master to speak for her. "Renner alerted us of what happened and that Nia was here. We registered ourselves at the entrance, but considering the confirmed company of several factions and individuals with borderline hostile attitudes towards the Stygian people, we elected to cloak our presence. Renner will, of course, cooperate with your investigation. I see now that this was done in error, and you have my apologies." "Liar!" a voice snarled, as Spartawolf slinked down the corridor, past several of the Clan Bosom guards, and he wasn't alone. Several armed Drow were flanking him, with wicked-looking plasma weaponry. Jack recognized Soren leading them, along with a female that he didn't recognize. Though none were taking aim, Jack had no doubt that they were well trained and ready to throw down if things got even more out of hand than they already were. A squawk came from behind, as Caro flew above and landed on the nearest shoulder. "Confirmed, Master," the familiar sneered, as Spartawolf raised his crossbow at the Grand Master. "The astral signature came from this group." "A magical attack?" Sigrun questioned, as Jack very subtly shifted his stance to be able to get into cover against the Drow, should he need to. "No, I merely wish to confirm the location of my adopted ward," the Grand Master calmly replied, not intimidated in the slightest by the newcomers. "In fact, if she is stable enough, she can come with us and we will leave, in order for our presence to not cause any further friction." "A devil spawn wanting to go through all that trouble to retrieve one of their own? I doubt it. It is more likely you're also here to cause harm to my sister," Spartawolf snapped back. "A devil spawn already tried once tonight, and I doubt it is a coincidence that more have come out of the shadows. You're lucky Frost got to you first. Everybody calm down, Sigrin ordered. They don't need to enter the room, so we can woo her here and escort you all out. I will also remind you that you've all agreed to respect the Elysium of this location upon entering. That is acceptable, the Grandmaster nodded, though looked at Spartaw curiously, as several Hode of guards went to get near. Svartal, for his part, stared right back at him through the sights of the crossbow that had proven an excellent choice so far. Renna was also intensely gazing at him, likely in rage. He had never particularly paid the Volster much thought before, though he would have to tread carefully in future. Thanks to his affiliation with House Malkar, he was now a deputized prefect, after all, and would need to work with her at some point. However, he didn't need to play nice. It took a few minutes for Nia to be wheeled out, and the atmosphere was tense throughout. Anything could have triggered a fight, but fortunately, Sigrin Barzan was able to maintain the peace, even as Sparta was tempted to start a fight with the Devil Spawn staring at him. Soren had assured him that the Drow would have his back if anything were to happen, but Sparta knew his chances weren't the best right now. He knew Frost had met Devil's Daughter the previous night, and had no doubt he and his group were the reason why she came for him and Svarti. He and House Malkar will need to plan their response. Here she is. We've repaired what we could of her physical wounds, but she suffered some major trauma. We've theorized she faced an enemy wizard who we are trying to identify, so if she wakes up, we want to talk to her. I understand, the Grandmaster nodded. All business. While Renna answers your questions, we shall exchange details and render what aid we can, provided the peace remains enforced. He gave a side glance to Svartal and the Drow contingent as he spoke, though Jack knew there were at least some within the Red Legion that would be hostile to the Stygians too. Thank you, Sigrin nodded. Since I don't want any more blood being spilled tonight, I'll move your group to the other side of the complex with a contingent of militia guards. If you're sincere with that offer for help, let them know what you can do and we'll transfer willing volunteers over to you. You'll be compensated well for the service. I assure you, no compensation is necessary. The Grandmaster smiled sweetly. Spartal made a scoffing sound of disbelief, but he didn't say anything further. We will discuss that later. For now, follow me, please, Sigrin ordered, leading them right past the Drow to Svartal's dismay. Once we're done here, I will help see to your just rewards for your acts of bravery, or at least get your details I can send things to. Sigrin quickly whispered to Svartal as she passed. Irrespective of your motivations, you helped save a lot of people tonight, and it is Clan Barzan's hope that we do right by both you and your sister. Svartal didn't give an indication either way. His patrons, after all, were right beside him, and he had no reason to even consider leaving them. The Nira dismissed his crossbow, as the Stygians themselves got closer, to favour summoning his sword or shooting out a disruptor knife should they make a move against him, and while most of the rest of that group kept their distance as they passed, his mouth grinned in anticipation as the Grandmaster stopped to stare at him closely, with a very curious expression. Soren quickly placed a reassuring hand on Svartal's shoulder, before stepping in front of the Nira to block his view, having hands on his twin blades. Keep walking, filth, the Drow purred arrogantly. The Grandmaster opened his mouth as if to say something, before closing it and moving along. Seeing that the situation had resolved itself, Jack left before anyone had noticed he had gone. While he could have spoken up, he didn't want to make the situation any worse, and was content to allow the two different parties to argue amongst themselves. He was done getting involved for tonight. It was only when the Stygians turned the corner did Svartal relax, and Soren released his hold on the nearest shoulder. We leave as soon as we can, the Drow noble ordered. If even part of what I have heard you have accomplished tonight is true, you and your sister can expect a response, and House Malkar needs to plan how we present your antics. Where is Svarti?" "She's this way," Svartal answered, as he led the Drow to the nearby bay where they were keeping his sister. Though Clan Barzum had promised him they would care for Svarti long term, the fact that they had let Devilspawn get this close to her meant that he couldn't trust the Hodov to keep her safe. "What happened?" Soren asked one of the house wizards that he brought with him. "Heavy spell scarring. The body will repair, as will the spirit, but letting them heal as one will take time," the mage replied without a hint of interest. "A shame. I had rather hoped to better acquaint myself with this one," Soren sighed as he stood by Svarti's bed, his finger stroking her hair as he trailed it down to her neckline. "Still, she will heal in time, and a talented caster like her will surely manage it sooner rather than later. I will ensure she gets the best treatment we can provide to bring her back." "Thank you," Spartal said, noting the way Soren looked at his sister with interest, without calling it out. "Are we able to move her?" "No issue," the female Drow grinned at Spartal. "Say what you want about their security, but Clan Barzum at least builds their equipment with functionality in mind. It's all clipped together, so we can just wheel it all as one connected mass. When we get back, I can switch her over to better tech." "Thank you," Spartal nodded at the unusual Drow, before turning to Soren. "Are we going now? I should at least speak to Sigrid Barzum about compensation." "You can speak to her later over secured comms." Soren gave a sly smile. "House Malkar will ensure she keeps her promise, and that you are fully compensated and publicly congratulated. For now, the best thing to do would be to leave before Clan Barzum knows we are gone." "As you wish," Spartal shrugged, as he wheeled Svarti away. "How are we even going to get home?" Jack tiredly asked Alora, as the group was finally reunited. "I don't think we're in a position to be walking back." "Clan Barzum has promised to taxi people that need to get home," the Eladri yawned back. "We'll still have to walk part of the way back since they don't have a closer landing zone, but it won't be too far. Rael is staying here for now until she hopefully wakes up, so we don't need to worry about transporting them. Vanya and Zale are confirmed to be coming with us too, and I've offered succor to anyone that needs it, though I think most will be staying here tonight. Clan Barzum seems to be trying to go all out with their hospitality. It's clear they want to regain face after what happened. Since my magic is expanded, there's little reason for us to stay and clog things up, though I suspect we'll be coming back to render assistance once we've rested up." "I think all of us can make it under our own power," Nika groaned as she sat up, indicating a stack of crutches leaning against the well. "Except Dante. Don't know what's wrong with him. He was fine until the portal closed and he just collapsed." Jack examined the dog once again, seeing if there was anything wrong that he could see. Dante was breathing weakly and had gotten up once or twice to make himself more comfortable, without acknowledging the others. But other than that, they were curled up under Nika's bed, asleep. "Maybe he's just really tired," Sephi opined. "Nah, I don't think so," Jack replied unsurely. "We've seen him sleeping before and it hasn't been like this. Hopefully with rest he'll get better, but if he doesn't, maybe we can call a vet." "What's a vet?" Zale asked curiously, having kept quiet until now. "Like a doctor or healer for animals," Jack quickly explained. "Hopefully Dante will be alright, but as far as getting back goes, I can probably carry him." "We have spare cargo haulers if you need them," a familiar voice called out, as Ivar Barzum approached the group. "Borrow what you need, but we'll probably need them back." "Captain," Jack acknowledged with a nod. "Need me for anything else?" Ivar shook his head. "You kids are spent, and you've done enough. Even if I did need your lot helping out, you'd probably do more harm than good considering how tired you are. No offense." "None taken, Captain. You're probably right, though once we're recharged we can come back and help. We have no excuse not to." Alora politely smiled. "Well, We'll need you back at some point anyway, so we can reward you and give you your stuff back. He looked to Jack. That gauntlet of yours we managed to peel off your arm is pretty fucked. You don't want it back right now, trust me. Luckily for you, I have runesmiths on speed dial. They're going to fix it up and make it more durable. Plus add a few new features for you to play with, and hopefully fuck off some clowns in the future. Thanks, Jack sighed, rubbing his arm where the metal had melted his flesh. Though he had finally had something to soothe the pain, he had been warned that it would still bother him for a while, though thankfully the worst of it had been healed magically. The rest would be natural. He still sported many less serious injuries all over him that the medics hadn't been able to prioritize with their limited resources. But if he came back, they would see to him if there wasn't a greater priority. Now, I swear on me clan, that isn't all you and your party will be rewarded with, Ivar hurried to add. Once we got the wounded out of the way and compensated, the victims and their families, we'll open the vault and bring out the good shit. That'll take some time though, so in the meantime, you can hold on to this. The Hodov reached to his back and unclipped something before presenting it to Jack, who despite himself grinned madly at what he saw. This isn't your official ward from Clan Barsam or anything, Ivar pointed out. But considering the reports the boys picking through Outpost Quandar have been giving me about the aftermath of your chopping rampage, it doesn't seem right to let you go without this, considering your old axe broke. Give it a feel. Jack did, picking up the double-headed battle axe and running his hand down the length of the shaft. The material of the handle was comfortable, at a perfect temperature that he knew would keep his hands from getting too sweaty. He could feel the very subtle grooves in the metal, which ran all the way from the base of the shaft all the way to the top. He was surprised by the light weight of it, as he gave it a few practice swings, making sure nobody was near him when he did. Though he worried that the lighter weight would impact his ability to fuck shit up, Ivar assured him that the blades of the axe were magically honed, and wouldn't need sharpening. That thing's been gathering dust to my wall. I think it's much better when it's in use, don't you? He grinned a wicked smile at seeing Jack's approval. Wow, thank you, Jack smiled. I hope things get a bit peaceful above all else, but part of me hopes I get to put this bad boy to use. Hopefully chopping wood, lad, Ivar sniggered. Anyway, I actually came here to let you kids know we'll put you on the next shuttle to get you home. Medics have prescribed some different medicines for you all. Which one of the girls has already bad for you? Would they be needing more meds by any chance? Sephi asked curiously, perking up as if remembering something. Probably, Ivar shrugged. If they're buying, they usually advertise for it. What was that about, Sephi? Chio asked, as the group got up to follow Ivar to the shuttle. Remember what we said we'd do with those drugs we liberated from the prefect's lockup? Sephi grinned. Well, that will cover a few pizza deliveries at least, Nika shrugged. Reckon they'll still deliver after a clown attack? Grandmaster Ravella bid Sigrin Barzan farewell with a smile as he led his followers to the edge of the complex, before several of the others passed the threshold of the district gate and began summoning a portal to transport them home. Are you sure we cannot offer any further aid, dear? The Stygian asked with a kind smile. Though my beloved Nia has suffered greatly, others have surely suffered more. Clan Barzam thanks you for your offer, Grandmaster, Sigyn replied with a smile, but we have it well in hand. We would, however, like to speak to Nia when she awakens, to see if she saw anything that may be of use to the investigation. Of course, Ivella smiled. We will contact you when she awakens and is able to talk. Will that be all, or is there anything else? That's all for now, Grandmaster, Sigyn replied after a quick think. Just help Nia recover. We certainly will, the Stygian nodded as he entered the portal. The moment the portal fully closed behind him on the other side, his false grandfatherly smile immediately turned into a look of calm anger. You have much to answer for, Renna, he coldly addressed her. Who in the name of the gods was that Nira?